Have you ever had a dream? A dream where you heard the telephone ring, or maybe a person calling your name? Anybody here? You're all smiling at me. I don't know what that means. It's something that happens in my family, at least among the guys, who ironically are the hardest to wake up. But today's experience of Samuel, hearing his name called, is no dream. And it takes the wisdom of Eli to unlock this mystery. Sometimes we think that we hear God's call, but we don't understand what it means. Other times, we perceive a call, but we don't go to God in response because we're so used to another way of thinking about life. Samuel is serving God under the supervision of Eli. However, as we have heard, Eli's eyes have grown so weak that he can barely see. This is a metaphor that is understood by the following part of the verse. A revelation of the Lord was uncommon, and a vision infrequent. Eli's relationship with God is not as it was and not as it should be. So how do we perceive God? How is our spiritual vision, our spiritual hearing today? Are we listening and watching with faith in God's presence and guidance in our lives? If you're looking for hope, and we all are, it is found in the verse regarding Eli. The lamp of God was not yet extinguished. And we have proof of this, as Eli, with his faith in God's grace, was able to properly advise Samuel. The first step was that he told Samuel to go back to sleep. I love that advice. You need to quote from scripture to go take a rest, that's it. But beyond the beauty of getting a good night's sleep, it shows a trust that God will call Samuel again. And this time, instead of going to Eli, Samuel is to speak directly to God, saying the words, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." That is always the right answer to God's call. You'll never go wrong with that one. And as predicted by Eli, the Lord called and he revealed his presence to Samuel. And Eli responded as each of us is called to do, with a faith and a trust and a willingness to listen to God and to follow his instructions. Eli was important, as diminished as his abilities were, to direct a young Samuel. Samuel listened to Eli, but more importantly, listened to God. As I reflected on this dynamic of God calling each of us and our awareness and our responses, I realized that God in my life has called me in big and little matters of life, as I'm sure he's done in each of yours. God has called to me in hospitals and classrooms. He's called out to me in traffic, sitting at my desk writing homilies and emails. He has called when I least expected, and also times when it made the most sense when I asked him. My brothers and sisters, the important thing we remember is that God calls each of us every day. Let us be like Samuel, ready and willing to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening."